Hey, this is Cold Turkey 49. In the last several weeks, I've been throwing down with the Mesmer and having a blast. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the Shatter Mesmer. There's several different ways you can build a Mesmer. I'll be talking about Shatter Mesmer because that's what I've been playing, and I've been having a lot of success, and I've been having a lot of fun. Let's jump right into it. No time for dilly-dallying. One of the things you need to think of right off the bat is that traits and utilities make a shatter build much more so than weapons or sigils or runes, but that's the first thing we need to talk about is weapons and sigils and runes. The only weapon I'm going to strongly recommend is that you have a sword in your main hand on one of your weapon sets. Past that, you have a lot of options because once again, weapons aren't necessarily what makes a shatter build work so much as it is your traits and utilities. What I like to run is I like to run sword pistol in one weapon set and then sword focus in the other weapon set. Pistol is nice in the offhand because of Phantasmal Duels and Magic Bullet, and I also think the focus is really nice because of Temporal Curtain, and then you can into the void that Temporal Curtain. Temporal Curtain is nice because it's an AoE speed buff if people go through it, and if an enemy goes through it, it slows them down. And then on top of that, it's a combo field if I'm not mistaken, and then you can sort of blow up the curtain, you can destroy the curtain with Into the Void, which is a big AoE knockback. Any enemies near it will get pulled or pushed, and then they'll get knocked down. So you can interrupt things, you can move chunks of entire enemy teams, force people off points, make it so people can't get to points as quickly so you can get the cap off instead. I was really surprised at just how much cool stuff you can do with Temporal Curtain. So I think focus is a great weapon, but you can do other things too. You could do a great sword, a staff, you could dual wield swords in one of your weapon sets. There's a lot of choices, but that's what I like to roll with. For sigils, I like to go with Sigil of Superior Fire to beef up the damage, and I talked about this in my Warrior commentary, where Sigil Superior Fire is a 1000 AoE damage, 30% of the time you crit. It is a massive boost to your damage. I would strongly recommend it. Now, another really popular choice and a really solid option is taking Sigils of Superior Energy so that you can keep dodge rolling people. Typically when people do that, they take the trait Deceptive Evasion, and we'll get talking into traits here in a bit, but definitely there's choices in not only weapons but runes and everything, so don't feel like you're stuck into one particular way of doing things. Try out a great sword in a weapon set, try out a staff in a weapon set, try out a sword focus like I'm doing, and see what gives you the best result. I've had the best results with sword pistol in one set and sword focus in the other set. We also want to talk about amulets and jewels. I like to go with berserkers on both if I'm going more of a glass cannon, pump out as much damage as possible, but if I want to be a little more defensive and have a bigger health pool, then I would definitely go with Knight's Amulet and Knight's Jewel for that. And then also for runes, I like Runes of the Eagle because you get more precision and crit damage, but you could probably mix things up there too. Next thing we're going to need to talk about is skills and traits. For your heal, I'm going to recommend you just go with Ether Feast. Right, is it Ether or Ether? Ether... Well, you know what, I'll just say Ether Feast, why not? It's the thing with the blue and black mask, just go with that. Utility skills, I like to go Blink, Mirror Image, Decoy. However, I think Portal is another great utility skill, very handy in certain situations. The issue I have with Portal is it's more handy in tournament play when you're on Skype, Mumble, or Vent, or whatever the frick. Basically, when you're communicating with a small team, you're much more effectively able to use Portal, whereas if you're just doing Pug PvP, I feel like Portal can be very lacking in certain situations and handy in other situations. At the time of me making this video, you can still repair the trebuchet by portaling the repair kit across. I'm not saying that they're gonna remove that, but there's definitely a chance that they will. For ultimate, I like to go Moa Morph. So what's the deal with Moa Morph? See, Moa Morph is so powerful because it completely shuts down one opponent for 10 seconds. The problem with Moa Morph, and anybody who's played a Mesmer or plays against a Mesmer knows this, is that Moa Morph can be blocked, it can be dodged, and it's actually not that hard to counter if you see it coming. If you see a Mesmer just stop and they're entering this big cast animation, they're probably going to cast Moa Morph on you, so you need to start dodge rolling, see if you have any spells, like if you're a Guardian, you could block it. Here's what I like to do. Remember I was talking about the utility skills, where remember I take Decoy. Decoy stealths you, and also it makes a clone of you, but more so for the stealth. A lot of times what I like to do is if I see an opponent and I think I'm going to be able to get away with a Moa Morph, I'll stealth myself with Decoy, and then I'll cast Moa while I'm stealth. See, the thing is if you cast it while you're stealth, your opponent is much less likely to dodge or block it because he doesn't necessarily know what you're doing. So that's kind of how I get away with using Moa Morph a lot. It's almost a guaranteed win in a one-on-one fight and allows you to effectively fight in a 1v2 because you can Moa Morph one of the two opponents, try to focus down and kill the other one, and you know, it doesn't work all the time. If your two opponents are skilled, you'll still lose, but if they're bad, you can get away with winning a 1v2. And then your other abilities, Mirror Image, it summons two clones. This is incredibly important and a very big key to having a Shatter Mesmer and kind of how it works. And then the other one is Blink. Blink is is just solid all around because it offers so much mobility. You can go somewhere quicker, you can run away from somebody faster, you can help chase down someone. It's a win-win situation. I think it's a great ability. So now what we need to talk about is traits. What are we going down? What are we taking? I like to go 20 down Domination. I take Mental Torment and Shattered Concentration. So going 20 down Domination is going to give you 200 power, 20% condition duration, inflict 5 seconds of vulnerability if you interrupt a foe, and any days also causes 3 seconds vulnerability. The actual traits I take: Mental Torment and Shattered Concentration. Mental Torment gives you 20% more damage on Mind Rack. Once again, this is really, really key to a Shatter build. And Shattered Concentration makes it that all your Shatter skills remove a boon on hit. This is pretty important for Shatter Mesmer builds as well, but not as important as going down Mental Torment, which is absolutely key. Next thing I like to do is go 20 down Dueling. Personally, what I take is Blade Training and Duelist Discipline. Blade Training gives you plus 50 precision with the sword in your main hand, or if you're using a spear, and reduces your sword and spear cooldowns by 20%, whereas Duelist Discipline increases your pistol abilities range and your Phantasmal Duelist range, and reduces your pistol cooldowns by 20%. A lot of people don't like this setup. What a lot of people who run Shatter Mesmer builds, and I talked about this earlier, is they'll take Deceptive Evasion instead, which gives you a clone if you successfully dodge somebody trying to hit you or use an ability on you, and then they pair that with Sigils of Superior Energy. That's not how I play my Shatter Mesmer. That's why I go with Sigils of Fire, and instead I take Blade Training and Duelist Discipline. Another thing, and then I talked about this in the beginning, is you don't have to go pistol offhand. You could go something else, and you don't necessarily have to have the same gear setup that I have to make the Shatter build work. So if you're not using a pistol, then Duelist Discipline would make no sense, so you'd want to take another trait. So that's why I kind of talk about that important. And also, go 20 down Dueling is going to give you 200 precision, 20% critical damage bonus. You gain 1 second of vigor on a critical hit, and your illusions inflict bleeding on critical hits, which is also pretty cool. Finally, going 30 down Illusions. This is the absolute biggest ultimate key to having a Shatter build, is you take Precise Rack, Master of Misdirection, and Illusionary Persona. Now, the two of these that are quote-unquote key is Precise Rack and Illusionary Persona, and the reason that these are so key is because they really set up how your shatters work. So Precise Rack gives you a plus 10 critical chance with your Mind Rack, very important. I'll talk about Master of Misdirection in a second, because that's not a key ability, it's just what I take. And then Illusionary Persona, which you have to go 30 down Illusion to get, makes it so when you use a Shatter ability, the effect originates from you as well. And I cannot begin to explain how important this is to a Shatter Mesmer and the opportunities that this opens up, but I will talk about it in length later on. But effectively, going down Illusionary Persona is going to increase your Shatter effects by 25%, because you'll have 3 illusions shatter, and then the Shatter effect will emanate from you as well. Really opens up a lot of options. And then Master of Misdirection, I just take that because it all in confusion inflicts that I have lasts 33% longer. And the reason I do that is because going 30 points down Illusion gives you 300 condition damage, reduces all Shatter cooldowns by 30%, Illusion summoning skills recharge 20% faster, all Shatter skills inflict illusion, and Shattering Illusions grants you Might. I like having the confusion last longer, especially against something like a Thief who's more prone to spamming abilities to try to kill you. I just think confusion is nice. I mean, you're already getting bonus condition damage because you're going down Domination, Dueling, and then you're going down Illusion, so I don't know. It just seems like a good choice, but by no means is that the key, so much as going at least 30 down Illusion is key, because you take Precise Rack and Illusionary Persona. So now we want to talk about playstyle. How are you going to be playing a Shatter Mesmer? What's going on? What's this combo you're talking about? Okay, so because you went at least 10 down Domination, you went at least 30 down Illusions, you're going to have the bare bones minimum to make this work. Mental Torment, Precise Rack, Illusionary Persona, we've kind of talked about that. Here's sort of your full combo. All your abilities are up. You see an opponent coming at you. You want to close in on your target. You want to try to stun, daze, or immobilize them. Your Pistol 4 or your Sword 4 are 2 great ways off the top of my head that I could think to do that. Then, when you get up to your opponent, you're going to summon 3 Illusions by using your Illusionary Leap, which is your Sword 3, and Mirror Image's utility. So now you've got 3 Illusions, you've got you, and you're all right by your opponent. Then you're going to hit your Blurred Frenzy, which is your sword number 2, and so while you're Blurred Frenzying, you're channeling, you're doing all this damage, and on top of that you're distorted, which means you can't really take any damage, CCs go through you, really powerful. But while you're doing this Blurred Frenzy, you're going to do what? You're going to activate your Shatter ability, Mind Rack. Remember, you have 4 Shatter abilities: Mind Rack, Cry of Frustration, Diversion, Distortion. We'll talk about it in a second, but Mind Rack, because we took all these traits to Mind Rack much more powerful, and we're going to have a really low cooldown on it. I think grand total it'll be like 11 seconds or something like that. So we're going to do that. So think about what that does. You're going to have 3 illusions, shatter, you're going to emanate the shatter effect, and your frenzy, your blurred frenzy, won't be interrupted by having the shatter happen. You'll still get that full damage combo off, hopefully. That's a lot of damage. You get 3 out of 5 crits because of how crit chance works and how your mind racks are going to crit a little bit more. You're looking at a solid 8 to 10,000 damage in an AoE, which is really, really powerful when you combine that with the fact that Mesmers have so many tricks. They've got a massive bag of tricks. They can stealth. They can pop around the map. Portal makes them extremely mobile. They have a lot of DPS. They can be hard to focus down. They can kind of confuse people sometimes. Mesmers just, they have all these tricks, and that's really the shatter build combo. Is you get up to them, you get your 3 illusions, you shatter them all, they all hit, the shatter effect hits from you, you get your frenzy combo off, boom, you just did a ton of damage, and it will drop people. It's especially handy when you can hit multiple targets. It's slightly reminiscent, and I say slightly, very slightly reminiscent of the 100 Blades combo that a warrior can do. Because with the warrior, you set up your 100 Blades combo with certain utility abilities, you get in there, and you hit them with that combo, and it's an AoE, hopefully you get multiple opponents. It's not too dissimilar from what we're doing with the Shatter Mesmer. We're using our utilities and our traits to set up a combo to inflict a lot of damage in a small AoE and hopefully kill people. So it's similar in a vague-ish kind of way. Outside of your combo and having a massive bag of tricks that make Mesmers just all around awesome, I really think they're a top tier profession in Guild Wars 2. They're just so good. They can do so many cool things. Because you went 30 down illusions and took illusionary persona, remember that you produce the shatter effect on yourself. This completely opens up an entire new avenue of play for the Shatter Mesmer, which can really help you kind of control the flow of battle or dictate the fight. You say, well, what are you talking about, Cold Turkey? How does that work? Here's an example. Let's say you're up against an opponent and he starts this big, huge cast animation. So you know he's going to take like 1.5 seconds to cast this big, huge spell that's just going to like blow you up and you're dog meat. What do? Well, remember, you have 4 shatter skills: Mind Rack, Cry of Frustration, Diversion, Distortion. What does Diversion do? Destroy all your clones and phantasms, dazing your target, which is going to interrupt them. Well, you don't have any illusions out. What do? You do it anyway, because remember, with your illusionary persona, the effect produces from yourself. So he's casting that big, huge cast animation. You just walk up to him, boom, you hit your diversion, bam, you daze him, you interrupt him, and you didn't even need any illusions out to do it. Another great example is when you're trying to finish off a downed opponent who uses CC to delay their inevitable fate. Warriors, Guardians, Rangers come to mind. When you have them in the down state and you're finishing them off, try to anticipate when that warrior, when that guardian, when that ranger is going to try to CC you out of that finish, and then what you do is you activate distortion. What does distortion do? It grants you distortion for each illusion or clone shattered. You don't have any. Well, it still is going to grant you 1 because the effect emanates from yourself. Remember that distortion makes you immune to CC. So if you can sort of anticipate when you think that guardian is going to hit that big huge bubble and you're trying to finish him, you hit your distortion, the bubble passes harmlessly through you, you're not CC'd, and you get the finish off. I can't tell you how many times this has let me finish off a downed opponent or get away with something just in general. It's amazing. And like I said, it's all thanks to going 30 down illusions, and this really adds that other dimension of play. Being a Shatter Mesmer isn't all about just executing your Shatter combo, which in and of itself is definitely a big portion of it, but it's more than that. And as I've stated previously, don't feel locked in with any real big, huge weapon choices. I still think it's important that you at least go sword in your main hand with one of your 2 weapon sets, but outside of that, you really do have choices. Some people love using staff. Some people love using greatswords. Some people like to dual wield swords. If you get really good results off it and you've tried everything else, stick with what's giving you the best result. But don't be afraid to try new things as you get better with the Mesmer. Sometimes you have a bad result from a particular weapon choice because you're inexperienced. So getting more experience will make you better. So not only that, but also remember, Mesmers have, I've talked about it like once or twice, but the big bag of tricks. Mesmers can do so many things so well. They're kind of like jack of all trades, master of none, except they kind of are really good at just about everything. They can do a lot of damage, they can be hard to kill, they can be extremely mobile. Thanks to Portal, they can move entire teams or portions of entire teams across the map instantaneously if the portal's set up correctly, which can really help you be mobile and defend points. I think Mesmers are a lot of fun, and I think Shatter Mesmers are incredibly fun. There are other ways you can play Mesmers. The two other big builds that you hear a lot about are Phantasm Mesmers, where your whole goal is to get out an army of Phantasms, typically 3, since I think 3 is the max, and have them kind of do the damage with you, and you don't really shatter them unless you absolutely have to. That's sort of the Phantasm Mesmer. I tried it, I don't like it. And then the other build is sort of a midway between the two, and it's called the Shantasm, I think it's called, where it's kind of a Shatter build and it's kind of a Phantasm build. I haven't really looked into that one too much, but I've heard good things about it. Maybe in a week or two I'll try that out. But I think in a week or two I'll be trying out another profession. I actually like playing my Mesmer a little bit more than I like playing my Warrior. And I didn't think that was possible because I've tried playing Guardian very seriously and I couldn't do it. I was bored to tears. I tried playing the Ranger very seriously. I think I stopped playing my Ranger after like 70 or 80 games. And the Ranger was fun, but it wasn't as fun. And I have 790 something games on my Warrior, and I think I'm just about to break 200 with my Mesmer because I've been having so much fun with my Mesmer. I really didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. And I'm going to be trying out other professions here in the near future as well. What I have targeted, just let it all hang out, so to speak, is Necromancer. I really want to try the Necromancer. I've been reading up on some interesting builds. Will I? I don't know. Might just end up playing my Mesmer and my Warrior for like the next 3 months. And that's just the reality of it. Guild Wars 2, it's going great. I'm having a blast. If you're a diehard Cold Turkey 49 fan and you've been watching up to this point, because let's be honest, if you read the statistics, most people still aren't watching this late into the video. In the underbar description of this video, I've linked gw2build.com. I have a link to the build for this Shatter Mesmer. If you're a diehard Cold Turkey 49 fan and you're still listening, please go to the build, make an account, because you have to make an account to do what I'm asking you to do, and leave a comment and thumbs up the build. Making an account is incredibly simple, but it's annoying. And if the answer is no, I totally understand. I'm just asking you to do this out of the kindness of your heart, because it really helps sort of get things out there. That's why I, do Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff, because I want to get it out there. I think these builds are really solid, and I've been having a lot of success with them. There are builds I've tried that I haven't had success with. That's why you don't hear me talking about them. Why? Because they sucked. Hey, that's just part of the process. Always being willing to try out new builds and see where things go. You can learn a lot from failure. But you don't hear me talking about them because I want to just get successful builds out there that I think are going to help your average player who maybe has questions and thinks, well, gosh, how should I play a Mesmer? How should I play a Warrior? And also, I'm not trying to say this is the only way to play a Mesmer. I said the same thing on my Warrior commentary. This is not the only way to do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but this is the way that I've been having a lot of success with in the recent past. So give Mesmers a shot if you haven't. They're super duper fun, and I think they're pretty awesome. This is Cold Turkey. Thanks for watching.